Live television. Tonight, the children are safe. The hijacker, dead. Diana Gonzalez reports from Miami.
The last stretch of a 15-mile terror-filled ride. 11 disabled elementary school children were on their way to school when their bus was commandeered by a man police say had a problem with the IRS and threatened to blow up the bus.
He advised that he had some sort of device and also may have had a firearm on him.
The hijacker, Catalino Sang, talked to police on a cellular phone while forcing the driver to take the bus to a landmark restaurant on South Miami Beach. He had worked there as a waiter until last night when he quit. At one point, police rescued a child who managed to get away. Then, a few minutes later, a SWAT team stormed the bus.
He made some sort of motions that indicated to the officers that he was going to either take the school bus driver's life or the children's lives, and they subsequently had to shoot him.
The children, shocked and splattered with blood, were rushed off the bus as the bomb squad moved in.
The bomb device, move it back!
But police found no bomb and no gun. The hijacker died almost immediately. One child was hospitalized with cuts from flying glass. The others finally made it to school, where panicked parents ran to greet them. Most of the special needs children on the bus are autistic or speech impaired and couldn't verbalize what they had been through. Carlos Brower's 7-year-old son was one of the hijacked students.
It was probably the best experience I've ever had in my life, to see that he's okay.
The relieved father had no compassion for the man who endangered his son.
I'm not sure I want to say this in camera, but I'm glad he's not alive.
Police say today's hero is 46-year-old Alicia Chapman, the bus driver, slightly injured when she jumped off the bus. Chapman says she feared for her life and the children's.
I told him to come down, lay down, and go to sleep.
Yeah, I can.
Police say her cool demeanor throughout the crisis helped save the lives of her passengers. Diana Gonzalez, CBS News, Miami.
The Justice Department is furiously backpedaling tonight on a previously little-noticed FBI wiretap proposal. It is getting a lot of notice now. The FBI plan would greatly expand the government's ability to wiretap, to fight, the FBI says, a growing high-tech crime wave via fax, phone, and cyberspace. Opponents see it as a plan to turn Ma Bell into Big Brother, as Jim Stewart reports.
In an effort to reach out and tap more telephone and computer users in the future, the FBI is asking phone companies to prepare for the day it can simultaneously monitor 1 in every 1,000 lines in large cities. But that doesn't mean the Justice Department insisted today that it will do so.
That there is no intention to expand the number of wiretaps or the extent of wiretapping.
What it wants, the Bureau said, is the ability to do so as the need increases to track criminals through the complex world of computers, cellular telephones, and fax machines.
Well, criminals have a lot more flexibility, so law enforcement has to be more flexible, obviously.
The need appears genuine. Instead of smuggling cash by the ton, Colombian drug gangs already are turning to the electronic transfer of funds. And computer hackers like Kevin Mitnick, arrested earlier this year, made the telephone lines a playground to allegedly swipe thousands of credit card numbers from computers. But the Bureau would still need a court order before listening in.
The legal authority is there. The question is, how extensive will be the application of that authority, and that's the issue now.
In other words, once Big Brother gets the ability to listen in on more phone calls than ever before, what's to stop him from trying to do so more than he ever has before? Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
A promising discovery reported tonight in the battle against breast cancer. Researchers at the University of Texas say a gene defect has now been found to play a role in the most prevalent form of the disease. Richard Threlkeld reports what this may mean.
It's an extremely important development.
It was big news last year, the discovery that a misbehaving gene in the human body caused some forms of breast and ovarian cancer. But the gene, BRCA1, seemed linked only to the sort of cancer that's inherited, about 5% of cases. But now researchers have found that the abnormality in this ordinary human gene may play a much larger role in the majority of the 180,000 breast cancer cases diagnosed every year.
This and other data now suggest that maybe BRCA1 is responsible or contributes to the development of breast cancer in many more patients, not just the hereditary type.
And that means that medicine may be one step closer to figuring out how this mutant gene causes these cancers in women and how to prevent them.
If we understand what the fundamental defect is in the breast cell that makes it a breast cancer cell, then we can not only correct it in the presence of cancer, but prevent it from happening and therefore prevent the cancer.
And the fact that researchers have learned so much about BRCA1 in just a year is another healthy sign that cancer research is on the fast track.
We're learning a great deal about cancer genes, and what we are learning will permit us to develop treatments that are specific to what has gone wrong, so that we can kill the cancers without risking killing the patients.
Even so, researchers caution that happy day is still years away. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
U.S. health officials today reported the number of Americans with diabetes has been soaring, up almost 50% since 1983. Among the reasons, the U.S. population is aging and getting fatter. Researchers say 16 million Americans are now diabetic, and almost half don't know it. Left untreated, diabetes may cause blindness, kidney failure, and nerve damage. Confidants of Hillary Clinton get another grilling at the Whitewater hearings. Bob Schieffer will have that story in a moment. And later, security guards with ties to Louis Farrakhan under fire on Capitol Hill.
This is a really beautiful day. Soup weather. There's this cream of chicken with vegetables from Healthy Choice, and that is rich stuff. Great big vegetables, lean chicken. Just makes you feel good. And only has 2 grams of fat. Beautiful. With Healthy Choice, I can eat what I like.
If heartburn shows up when you lie down, it may not be just heartburn. It may be something different. Doctors call it acid reflux, and you need something different. You need regular Gaviscon. Only Gaviscon forms a protective barrier that helps keep stomach acid down, where it belongs. Mylanta can't, Pepcid AC can't. Gaviscon is the only medicine you can buy without a prescription that can. So to help stop reflux pain from acting up when you lie down, get Gaviscon. It's different from here all the way to here.
We give our dogs Pedigree as a source of meat in their diet. When you open a can of Choice Cuts, there's big meaty chunks and a rich brown gravy. You can really smell the meatiness. For my money, Pedigree is the best dog food you can buy.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
In Washington, Republicans in Congress today relaunched again their Whitewater offensive and took aim at First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. The Senate Whitewater Committee recalled 2 previous witnesses today. Both testified before. Both have very close ties to the First Lady. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has the latest.
Now, look, it is not reasonable, it is not creditable to...
In a testy hearing, Republicans suggested the First Lady's top aide Maggie Williams and Mrs. Clinton's longtime friend Susan Thomases had teamed up with the First Lady herself to block a search of Foster's office after he died. The 2 denied any wrongdoing, but seemed resigned to the accusation.
I'm not going to argue with you. This is exactly what I expect.
Okay. I beg your pardon?
I said I'm not going to argue with you. This is exactly what I expect.
What sent Republicans off were newly discovered phone records showing Williams made a pre-dawn call to Mrs. Clinton, who was in Arkansas, on the day federal investigators were supposed to review documents in Foster's office. Minutes after Williams' call, someone at Mrs. Clinton's number called Thomas's, who then called White House counsel Bernard Nussbaum, who later ruled investigators could only see documents he gave them. Williams and Thomas's said the calls were to console each other. Chairman D'Amato was not convinced.
It does not ring true, I'm sorry to say.
The 2 said repeatedly they could not remember details of what happened. When Thomas's couldn't even recall a White House visit listed in security logs, it got even nastier.
I don't have any specific recollection of it, no.
Well, how someone can spend 6 hours at the White House and have no recollection of it is beyond me.
Faircloth wants to subpoena Mrs. Clinton, but Chairman D'Amato said no for now, and the White House said that shows that the committee's found nothing new. But it's another painful episode for a White House that must be getting used to them. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
On another front, Republicans on Capitol Hill made it clear again today they intend to push their anti-abortion agenda hard as an election campaign issue. For the second day in a row, they voted to approve another anti-abortion measure in the House, the latest of several Republicans have attached to major legislation now before the Congress. More about this from correspondent Linda Douglas.
Today, the residents of Washington, D.C. became the latest target in the congressional war on abortion. In a bill funding D.C. city government, House Republicans pushed through a ban on abortions paid for with local tax dollars.
That has never been done in 20 years, and a statutory amendment on abortion come from the Congress.
Yesterday, the House voted to outlaw a rarely used type of late-term abortion, the first abortion ban of any kind to win approval in 22 years.
It's one more step in the move to end a woman's access to safe and legal abortions.
Though the Republicans never mentioned it in their contract with America, anti-abortion forces in the House have moved quickly and quietly to make significant gains. A ban on Medicaid funding, including cases of rape and incest. A ban on abortions in military hospitals. No insurance coverage for abortions for federal employees. Almost unnoticed, abortion has become the defining issue for conservatives who dominate the Republican Party.
For many conservative activists, abortion has become a symbol of conservatism. If you don't pass on that issue, if you're not up to snuff there, then you're not really a conservative.
The Republican presidential candidates know that. On this issue, Pat Buchanan is no longer labeled an extremist.
I will be the most pro-life president in the history of the American Republic, bar none.
Republicans who favor abortion rights warn that making the issue a centerpiece will only undermine the party's gains.
There's too much concentration on the issues that divide us rather than the issues that bring us together.
Potential presidential candidate Colin Powell favors abortion rights, but he's yet to enter the race. And one thing that could keep him from running is passionate opposition from anti-abortion conservatives. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
A U.S. federal grand jury has indicted Japan's Daiwa Bank in what's described as a broad criminal conspiracy. The bank is accused of attempting to defraud the U.S. Federal Reserve by covering up more than $1 billion in bond trading losses. Federal bank regulators today ordered Daiwa to shut down all of its U.S. operations.
More relief than the regular strength of Bayer or Tylenol. Anacin, when you really got a headache.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
Up there all night, man, it's always just been me and my music. The last thing I ever wanted to worry about were my dentures. I switched to Fixodent, so now I know I can start playing at 6 p.m. and swing set after set straight through the dawn.
Fixodent holds stronger, longer than any other cream, even after 12 hours.
You tell me I don't have to worry. That's like music to my ears.
For a stronger, longer hold, Fixodent, and forget it.
Whoever said the heart has no place in business never had a child to pass it on to. I've got to set things up right to make sure he's the one who gets all this. What's a legacy? Just another word for love.
Make sure the future is secure for your business and your family. Ask a Merrill Lynch financial consultant who can help with a plan and more ways to make the plan work than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
She was viciously assaulted by this college football star. So what happened? The coach put him back on the team.
If one of your players had roughed up a member of your family, would you have reinstated that player on the team?
I kind of resent that question.
Sports heroes. Why don't they have to play by the rules? The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Another cycle of violence is underway in the Middle East. Suicide car bombers attacked 2 Israeli convoys in the Gaza Strip today. 7 Israelis aboard a bus were injured. Arab sources said it was revenge for the assassination of an Islamic Jihad leader last week. U.S. diplomats today presented an American peace plan to the presidents of Bosnia, Serbia, and Croatia, meeting at a U.S. airbase in Ohio, and the negotiators got a message from Sarajevo, from relatives of some of the 10,000 children killed in the Bosnian War. A mother who leads a group of bereaved parents said, and I quote, "We want peace and a future for our kids." What's called the first progress in the talks came last night. Leaders of Serbia and Croatia said they would personally settle the fate of the last part of Croatia still held by Serbs. Alan Pizzi reports from inside Croatia on the bitter dispute about Eastern Slavonia.
Eastern Slavonia is the most emotional issue in modern Croatian history. More than 2,000 Croats died in the 1991 war that left the area in Serb hands. And on the day they came to remember the dead, thoughts of making a deal over it found little blessing. For the Croats, the shattered town of Vukovar, seized from them by the Serb army, represents everything that matters in Eastern Slavonia, a symbol of shame to be revenged whatever the cost. Mladen Jurkovic lost a leg in the war. He says he has no reason to think that the Serbs will see what he calls reason. As a human being, I want it settled peacefully, he says, but knowing them, I don't think it will be. Eastern Slavonia is the 3% of Croatia still under Serb domination. All the other land that the Croats lost in the 1991 war was retaken last summer when the Croatian army blitzed its way into the Serb-controlled Krajina region, a success that gave the military an inflated idea of its prowess. Steeped now in its own mythology, the Croatian army seems to be almost straining to finish the job by taking back Eastern Slavonia. If when the president comes back from America there is not going to be a peaceful settlement, Brigadier Ante Gilia says, then the moment he gives us the order, we will fight. Perhaps with that in mind, no one is taking down the blast barricades that are a feature of every town in this area. There is little faith here that agreeing to talk about Eastern Slavonia in Ohio means that war is now out of the question. For many, the desire for vengeance runs too deep to be satisfied by mere negotiation. And there are too many Croats buried a few miles beyond this closed border for the issue to just go away. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, on the Eastern Slavonia border.
Here's something delicious that has the flavor of fruit, not fat. A low-fat, chewy granola bar from Nature Valley. It's like finding a candy bar with the flavor of fruit, not fat. Just look here in Nature Valley.
Please pass the all fruit.
Polaner all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice.
Would you please pass the jelly?
You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please don't dare call it jelly.
With all the new heartburn medications, how do you choose? Well, when doctors and pharmacists were asked which they would recommend more often, 7 out of 10 chose Pepcid AC Acid Controller over Tagamet HB. One small Pepcid AC does what 2 Tagamet HB can't claim. Doctors know that 1 Pepcid AC controls acid longer, has been proven to prevent heartburn, and has no drug interaction warnings. Ask your doctor or pharmacist. You can be heartburn-free with new Pepcid AC, the strongest, longest acid controller.
To build something that endures takes hard-working people. People who care. People with vision. And the strength to see the job through. We know. Since 1904, that's how we've built a name for ourselves in financial services. Providian. Insurance, credit, and retirement savings.
Crispix for me? Thank you.
Elizabeth says Crispix won't get soggy in milk.
We'll see. Starts off crispy. So far, you're right, Elizabeth, but still crispy. Okay, but reality will soon set in.
Kellogg's Crispix cereal. Delicious corn and rice that stays crispy to the end.
Last bite, gonna be mushy, soggy. Hey, it's so crispy.
More Crispix, Daddy?
Thanks. You're a doll. You too, Elizabeth.
They're armed. They're ready to shoot. They're your neighbors.
I would kill somebody in a heartbeat.
And all new 48 hours tonight.
A federal judge has upheld the right of Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam to hold a rally for men only in Cleveland. Cleveland had refused to rent space to the group, saying the event discriminated against women. But the judge said that violated the group's religious freedom. Farrakhan's disciples are also under fire in Congress now, where some members want to cut off their main source of federal funds. Correspondent Peter Van Sant has that story.
The Ocean Towers public housing project in Coney Island, New York, used to be a dangerous place to live. Today, residents claim there are no drug dealers on the street. And they say it's all due to the bow-tied security guards, followers of Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Now, we have no problems with the Muslims. The drug problem has gone down, the crime has gone down.
There is little doubt among residents here that the Muslim security guards are doing a great job.
But critics say taxpayer money should not be paid to firms linked in any way to the Nation of Islam.
Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam are biased and bigoted, and the $20 million they get just goes to fuel their empire of hatred.
A House committee this afternoon approved an amendment aimed at security companies with ties to the Nation of Islam, requiring investigations into charges of hiring discrimination.
Are any of the guards white?
No.
No whites, Christians, Jews, or women. Public money in the form of block grants from Housing and Urban Development ends up in security companies associated with the Nation of Islam in cities including Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York. At Ocean Towers, there is anger that anyone would try to take away their guards.
By y'all trying to get them up out of here, there's going to be mad police up over here because bodies going to be dropping every night. You know what I'm saying?
We need them. You know what I'm saying? Keep us safe and all that. Even Mussolini made the trains run on time, but you wouldn't make him Secretary of Transportation.
But residents here believe that if what these guards represent is considered evil, then it is a necessary evil. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead, broadcasting's diamond anniversary, as one legendary broadcaster might have put it. It all began at a 100-watt radio station in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You know, no matter how many times I take a Carnival cruise, I never get bored. I always get excited about the fabulous food. The islands are endlessly fascinating, and the shows are always a thrill. The pleasures of a Carnival cruise just never get old.
That's right, Kathy. This cruise makes me feel 10 years younger.
Betty?
Okay, 20.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
I haven't had this much fun in decades.
Newest Black & Decker Dustbuster. With twice the power as before, it'll pick up more than you think. The Black & Decker Dustbuster. More power, more pickups.
If you've been drinking Ensure, there's a little something you should know. Sustacal has more protein, less fat, and about twice as much calcium. No, Sustacal can't add years to your life, but it might help add life to your years.
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover has a unique cup-shaped brush head that removes plaque more effectively than a manual toothbrush, leaving your teeth so clean you can feel it. The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover cleans better than a manual toothbrush.
And hold it.
Oh, sure.
Concentrate. Stretch.
Now that I can do. Plump, delicious Sunsweet Lemon Essence Pitted Prunes.
Are you with me?
Sunsweet. Always a sweet idea.
Fresh pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope offer a new clue to a cosmic question. Where do stars come from? The picture from 7,000 light years away from Earth shows rising baby stars in the tips of those monstrous finger-like gas clouds. Astronomers say this indicates some stars aren't born, they're hatched in evaporating gaseous globules, what astronomers mercifully call eggs for short. Finally tonight, birthday greetings to an old friend. Radio. 75 years ago tonight, radio station KDKA in Pittsburgh went on the air to report the presidential election returns. Broadcasting was born, and the rest is history. Reported by correspondent Anthony Mason for tonight's Eye on America.
Live from Chicago. In a Chicago ballroom, the Museum of Broadcast Communications marked the occasion.
Celebrating radio's 75th anniversary.
By gathering some of America's most familiar voices.
Let there be music in the air.
Paul Harvey.
I can't imagine, since radio and I kind of grew up together, anything that I would be more excited about celebrating.
You have to do it with passion. Rush Limbaugh. Casey Kasem.
All you need are the right words and the person's imagination. And that's where radio works best.
And so it began 75 years ago.
And then one November day, the 100-watt voice of KDKA told anybody within 10 miles of East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that Warren Harding had been elected President of the United States.
KDKA was just a shack on the roof of a Westinghouse factory on this day in 1920.
We'd appreciate it if anyone hearing this broadcast would communicate with us.
At most, maybe a few hundred people in Pittsburgh were listening, but the impact was volcanic.
And within a couple of years, there were 500-600 radio stations on the air and 1 million radio receivers in the homes of America.
Everyone is talking and fooling with radio.
It relegated the piano to the far end of the room, and the radio became the altar.
Radio's golden age would run for almost 30 years.
Come in. Shadow knows.
The Lux Radio Theater. Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the...
Your money or your life?
It made a star of the famously stingy Jack Benny.
Look, Bud, I said your money or your life. I'm thinking it over.
You might be staring at the pattern on the drapes in your living room or on the paisley carpet on the oriental rug, you know, but what you were seeing, Fibber McGee open that closet.
I'll just duck out the side door here if you don't...
No, that's not the side.
That's the hall.
This is an art form. Radio was part of American life for 25 years.
But about 1950, radio had to make way in the living room for a new box, and this one had pictures. Television hypnotized America. Radio, they said, was dead, but they were wrong.
Do you know what can be found?
Rock and roll kept it alive. The transistor let it travel. And talk has rejuvenated radio again today. The history of radio is our history.
He made it. Charles A. Lindbergh landed at Le Bourget Airport, Paris.
This is London, being bombed again.
Chuck Shaden keeps the old radio recordings alive every week on his Chicago radio show.
I don't live in the past, but it sure is a great place to visit.
Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
There are 75 years of sounds to visit now, the sounds of our century. In New York, I'm Anthony Mason for Eye on America.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And coming up on your television, 48 Hours. 48 Hours tonight looks at why so many Americans are arming themselves with guns. 48 Hours, ready, aim, fire, tonight at 10, 9 Central Time. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. See you again soon, reporting about guns on 48 Hours.
CBS News. Have you seen your country today?
The news at 6 is next. The happy-faced killer is sentenced to life behind bars. But what about the two people already serving time for the same murder he was sentenced for?
We'll offer job-finding help for people who see the holiday season as an opportunity to make some extra income.
And how much money was this woman able to pick up when she was put in a vault for 4 minutes with $1 million? Find out.
Those stories plus weather on the 6s with Jim Little. Join us next.
What makes Kaiser Permanente so different? Well, you may never need to do all this at once, but if you did, you could.
Visit your family doctor.
Go for an x-ray. See a specialist.
Get your prescription filled.
And pick up a new pair of glasses, all under the same roof.
And since we have medical offices all over, one of our roofs is probably close to yours.
Kaiser Permanente, different from the ground up.